Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy of The Man Crisis in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. Some of my viewers have been wanting me to run for Congress against Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez here in Parkchester. And I'm open to running for that congressional seat. However, I don't know if most people would want to support my campaign or the platform I would run on. Now, the platform I would be running on would be making the American man great again, and my platform would be about rebuilding America's men. Now, in my book, The Man Crisis, I detail all of the problems American men are struggling with in today's gynocentric society, and I would want to go and run for political office to implement strategies to rebuild America's men and make America's men great again. And the reason why I would want to run on that campaign is because I understand that the American man is essential to building a great America. And if we don't start working on investing in our men, we're not going to have a great American society in the 21st century. Now, most people don't understand that in order for us to enjoy the great society we live in, we need to take care of one of the most precious resources God has given us. And that resource is our American man, because our American men are the fathers who are the head of household for many American families, and they are the builders who built the modern American society, whether it be the slaves who built the foundation of America, or it be the average everyday working man. The American man is someone who we need to see as having a value, and that's something we haven't done over the last 50 years as we have adopted a feminist culture and a gynocentric culture designed to elevate the American woman. And as we have elevated the American woman over the last 50 years, we have neglected all of our American boys and our American men. And because we have neglected to care or meet for the needs of our American boys and our American men, this is why we have a man crisis here in America, and why so many men are frustrated, angry, and don't have a sense of where they want to go or a sense of direction for their lives. And because we have this man crisis going on, this is why the country is so unsettled, because we have not taken the time to invest in our boys and our men. We have focused so much on girls that we have left our boys in the dust. And because we've left our boys in the dust, this is why we have all of this anger in America and all of this division. And if I were to run for Congress, my agenda would be about making an effort to invest in the American man and invest in America's boys towards helping them to develop into the men who will manage to build America's society for the 21st century. Because in order for us to build a great society, we have to invest in the most precious resource, which are our American men and our American boys, and show those American men and those American boys their value to society and their value to God's natural order. Because God made the man first, and the sad part is, over the last 50 years, we have put our men second, and when we put our men second, they cannot put our country first, and they cannot build our country to be a great country, because we have gone out here and invested so many resources in women. Unfortunately, we are not taking care of our American men, and that's something we desperately need to do here in America, because the more resources we invest in our boys and our men, the greater return on the investment we will all receive in our society, because the money we spend on our boys and our young men, this is going to pay off in large dividends, because men are inventors, men are builders, men are creators, and these men, when they go out here and build, create, and innovate, take our society to higher levels. Moreover, when we invest in men, we also invest in family, because when we place a value on fatherhood, those fathers go out into society, and what those fathers do is they prepare both boys and girls for the world out there, because in a home where there is a father, you have a child learning not only about the culture that his mother teaches, but about things like discipline and structure that allow him or her to understand how the world works. And when you have a boy or a girl with a father in their life, those children usually grow up to have more confidence, they usually grow up to have more balance, and usually they go out here and they grow up to become functional adults. So I see the investment in American men as something that needs to be part of a political platform, and we need to make investments in our American man and investment in our boys, because it's those boys who grow up to become the men who become fathers, and it's those boys and men who grow up to go out here and build strong American families. And as I see it, if I were to run on any platform, my platform would be all about, again, investing in our American men and developing programs that show American men their value to society, and also showing our American boys their value as men to society and their role in God's natural order. Moreover, what I would want to do as further to invest in America's men is to focus on developing a platform for building the self-esteem and self-worth of American men by teaching them their roles in God's natural order, teaching them the value of fatherhood, and teaching them the importance they have to society. And what I would want to do is start laying out reforms to our archaic divorce system, because no-fault divorce is destroying American families, because 80% of American women file for divorce for arbitrary reasons, breaking up healthy American families and separating boys and girls from their fathers. And when boys and girls are separated from their fathers, what happens is they grow up to become dysfunctional adults who either become a part of the welfare state, the prison system, or the mental health complex. So those people don't contribute to society. Instead, they become a burden to society. And if there was a father that was allowed to stay in the home, there would be an effort to do for those people to grow up to become healthy adults. So I want to, as part of my platform, to deal with the archaic divorce system and reform this divorce system, because if women are now making equal money to a man thanks to the Equal Pay Act of the 1960s, then we don't need to give the women the whole thing as related to a man's resources in things like divorce settlements, like alimony, which I believe needs to just be outlawed altogether, because if women can work and make their own money, then they don't need this man's money. And when it comes down to child support, we definitely need reforms to make child support more balanced,
because when I look at child support, there's no need to take 80% or 50% of a man's income as related to child support. Child support should be something reasonable, and your child support should be something proportional to the needs of a child. There is no need to give a woman 80% of a man's income, and there's no need for a man to practically be living in the street and working homeless when we have a supposed child support system which should be about making sure that the child's needs are taken care of and not the needs of a hypergamous mother who is looking to be taken care of at the man's expense. So when I look at child support really needs to be reformed, just like our archaic divorce laws, which were designed for housewives in the 1970s. But in 2019, when women are a majority of the employees in America's workforce, there is no need for a woman to go out here and get 80% of a man's income when she makes her own income. So that's where I see it as related to the divorce laws and the child support laws. And both of them, as I see it, if I were running for Congress, these would be things I would want to reform in addition to investing in America's men. And this would be the platform I would be running on, in addition to talking about reforms to our schools to make our schools more accepting to boys and showing boys, again, a sense of value and worth to society, because too much of our school systems, they're all about gynocentrism and all about elevating the girls. Well, as I see it, when you have a majority of women in the workforce and a majority of women in the jobs, men need to be placed in a protective class, and America's boys need to be placed in a protected class in order to ensure the growth of a so-called equal society. Because as it stands right now, the society is unequal, and most people are attacking your American man. But if you keep attacking your American man, then he has no incentive to build an American society or invest in American society. And the attacks on the American man would be something I would want to run on. And the platform, again, I would be wanting to run on is a man-centered platform, and a platform centered on rebuilding our American man, elevating our American man back to a place of greatness, and reestablishing America's men back as leaders in America's society, and presenting a platform which showed value to America's men and showed value in being a father in America's society. Because as it stands right now, America's men feel worthless. America's men feel disconnected. America's men feel like they have no place in society. America's men have been treated like absolute trash. And if you treat your greatest resource that God has given you, America's man, like garbage, then what incentive, again, do those men have to building anything for anyone? So in order to make America a great country, as I see it, we need to invest in America's men. And in order for America to be great, we need great men. So that would be the platform I would run on if I were running for Congress against your Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And that platform would be all about building a balanced and healthy man, and also talking about things like getting more balanced work hours so that America's men can be a father in the home and provide structure to their children. It would be all about building the American man again and making America's men as great as they could possibly be. If you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to learn more about why so many of America's boys and men are struggling, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback or Kindle formats, Smashwords, Barnes & Noble, and the iBookstore. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.